If it's colorful, if it's beautiful, then it is the Medley Show. Welcome to the new revamped Medley Show. Are you wondering where you are? It is a Medley Show. It's more beautiful, it's more fun. And of course, the entire episode is going to be very different from what you're used to. You're wondering, okay, she's saying different. What do they have? We have interesting guests, of course. And then we have very, very fantastic segments that are going to add a lift to your sort of maybe boring day or boring afternoon. This is what we like to call the midday energy. Welcome to the Medley Show. My name is Tochi. And today we're going to be talking about something really, really interesting. Everyone wants money, right? So just in case what you're doing at the moment isn't giving you what you want, we're going to talk about something called the side hustle and the gig economy. That, of course, I'm going to have great guests in the studio who I'm going to be discussing the Future Awards Africa coming up in a few days. Before you get to meet them, let's bring in the person that is on our lineup for today. It is Around Nigeria in 60 seconds. Watch us and we'll be right back.
والحمد لله كثيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا. Welcome to Abuja.
This food that you are eating is not washable. There you go.
That is FCT Nigeria from the eyes of the authentic cyclist. Thank you so much for that. So we were talking side hustle and the gig economy. So just in case you're wondering, I have just one job, it's a 9 to 5, and you're wondering, how do I make extra cash? So we put together something that we called low-hanging fruits as to how to make extra cash in your pocket. Watch this feature and we will be right back.
So, you're thinking about diving into the gig economy? You know, that world where you can work on your schedule, wear whatever you want, and choose gigs that fit your vibe. Sounds perfect, right? Well, sort of. The gig life has its perks, but it's also got some unexpected twists. First things first, freedom. Want to work in your PJs at 10 a.m. or take a Tuesday off just because? The gig economy's got you covered. You decide when, where, and how much you work. It's like a work buffet. You can pick and choose. But here's the deal. Flexibility also means there's no guaranteed payday. One week, you might be streaming in cash from a few big projects. And the next week, crickets. The gig economy can be a roller coaster. So budgeting and planning are your new best friends. The cool thing? The gig economy lets you explore and build skills you might never try otherwise. Maybe you're a graphic designer who's always wanted to dabble into social media management, or a writer trying out podcasting. Gigs let you test those waters and maybe even uncover hidden talents. Now, here's a reality check. Most gigs don't come with benefits. No health insurance, no paid vacation, no retired plans. It's not all easy breezy. Be ready to adapt, plan, and roll with the ups and downs. With the right mindset though, you can make it work for you and maybe have some fun along the way.
I hope hope you picked up a few ideas from that. So it's time now for you to meet my first guest. I have in the studio Zainab Bala. She is the brain behind the Scoop initiative, right? It is a documentary and broadcast journalism outfit. Yeah. Okay, so it's fair for me to say that you're one person who understands the side hustle and gig economy very well. You understand that pretty well, right? Yeah. So how do you dabble in this side hustle and gig economy in today's world?
I think it's very, very interesting that in today's world we need to diversify, or else we'll be in trouble with the scene right now. And so for me, the Scoop Storytelling Initiative is a journalism project, and basically we focus on telling the stories of the marginalized groups. I'm really passionate about it. And so it's something that's really dear to my heart, and over the years we've been able to reach communities and also to empower them through this journalism initiative.
Okay, I agree when you say it's very dear to your heart, because that has gotten you noticed. Yeah. You are a nominee for the Future Awards Africa Prize Award for Journalism. Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Very excited. Okay. And just because I think for me that's my first Nigerian award. It will be nomination and award. I know I've had commendation from the Wole Soyinka Center, yes, but for me this is really very dear to my heart, and it makes me feel really excited, and it tells me that we've been doing so much great work and we're being recognized for that.
Okay, so how did you feel when you first heard about the award? Tell me, in all honesty. Don't be modest. Don't be. Just tell me how. Did you jump? Did you scream? Did you how did you feel when you heard about the nomination?
I was very excited because I've been following the Future Awards Africa for a couple of years now, and so I think in Africa is one of the most prestigious awards for young people, and so being nominated for that makes me very excited. I feel distinguished. And so when I saw that, I was like,
you're being so calm about it. You described it as being one of the most prestigious in Africa. So why are you being so calm about it?
I guess because I'm a calm person.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just excited within.
Okay, so let's talk about what inspired you. Why did you choose to pursue this journey into documentary and filmmaking and telling stories that seem to be relegated to the background?
So for me at first, I thought journalism was about looking great on TV, just the way that you look.
Oh, thank you very much.
And speaking great English. But over the years, I realized that's really not journalism. And so what changed that for me was going to the NTA Television College in Jos. And so I learned so much.
Sorry, say that again.
NTA Television College.
Oh, thank you. I hope you all heard that. Okay, so cool. Go ahead.
And so I'm proud to be an alumni of that school.
Right.
And so that shaped my perception of what journalism was all about. And I learned that journalism was all about service to the people and be amplifying the voices of those who already have voices, yes, but you're helping them amplify those voices. And for me, that was a turning point for me. And so I really wanted to focus on human interest narratives, because I think people relate better to those kind of stories than, blanket comment to tell them about data and so many other things. And so for me, that was what changed my perception about journalism.
So what do you think sets you apart as a journalist? Because there are so many talented journalists in Nigeria, across Africa. This award is across Africa. So what exactly do you think sets you apart and makes your work unique as it is?
I think for me what sets me apart, because I remember I started my IT here at the NTA.
Say it again.
I started my IT here at the NTA, and I think I've grown over the years. And what I think sets me apart is my ability to diversify. A lot is changing with the journalism landscape, and you need to change with those kind of trends to be able to stay relevant. I've done broadcasting for a couple of years, but gradually I've been moving into corporate communications, journalism and advocacy, and so for me that has helped me to shape shift. And so I think that is what keeps you relevant when you're no longer on the screens. When
you remember your work,
yeah,
and the impact you made,
that you've made over the years. Yes. So
fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna get back into this conversation, but right now let's bring you Bump or Dump. So we'll quickly play that, and then I'll come back and explain what Bump or Dump means to you. Bump or Dump, up next. The Medley Show. That was a song by King Medley. King Medley is a very, very interesting and really great Nigerian music artist. So for Bumper Dump, what I need you to do is, you've heard the song, you've seen the video. So are you going to be bumping to the song, or is it going to be a dump for you? So send us your messages to 090. You're going to send the messages to the number on the screen. It's 0913 898-9550. So tell us what you think. Are you bumping to the song, or are you dumping? So speaking of King Medley, I have King Medley, Abdul Razak, Ayodeji Razak, and of course, Lai Wasabi waiting in our Lagos studio. Are you guys ready for me? Are you ready for me? Oh yeah, I see King Medley, I see Lai Wasabi, and I see Mr. Ayodeji Razak. How are you all doing this afternoon?
Hello there.
Hey everyone.
Did you feel seeing your song on my screen? How did that make you feel? Can you hear me?
My name is King Medley, and I'm here with two amazing people.
Hello everyone, my name is Lai Wasabi, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm also here with the incredible
Ayodeji Razak, Executive Director of the Future Awards. I mean, I'm excited to be here with these amazing superstars.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Excited to have you guys join us today. And the Future Africa Awards is upcoming. Of course, we also have Zainab Bala here. She is also a nominee as you both. So we're going to be speaking, I'm going to be speaking to Mr. Ayodeji Razak, first of all. You are the Executive Director for the Future Awards Africa, and we have lots of people who have been nominated to receive awards for their work in different categories this year. But Lai Wasabi is for content creation, King Medley is for music, and of course, Zainab Bala is for journalism. Let me start by asking you, what is the aim behind the consistency? Is the 18th edition, I believe. So what is the idea behind the consistency of having to award young people across Africa with various awards every year?
That's a very interesting question. Over the last 18 years, the Future Awards was founded on one vision. The founders set out to build a platform where Africans, and young Africans in particular, who are doing incredible things across the continent, are able to get rewarded and acknowledged for the amazing work they do. When it started, there were pretty much no platform for recognizing the work that young people in Africa and Nigeria were doing. And if you look at the statistics, the population of Africa, 60% of that population are young people under the age of 35. So the goal was simple. How do we spotlight all of the work that these young people, these incredible people are doing? I mean, people like King Medley. King Medley is like, what, 18? And she's already a sensation in our music industry. Lai is what, in his early 20s? I think he just started growing beards. And these are people who are doing incredible work, And how does the Future Awards tie into all of this? We want to be able to celebrate them, celebrate their achievements, join them in, letting the world know that we are so proud of the work we're doing as Africans and how we're taking over, all of the separate industries. That's not just entertainment, it's everywhere. Like Zainab Bala in Abuja, she's amazing as well. Zainab Bala is an incredible journalist, and all of this work is what we try to spotlight at the Future Awards. And with 18 years of doing that, I always tell people, I say it everywhere, show me a young person doing something in Africa and Nigeria, the person that's probably nominated for Future Awards at some point in their career. And that's a true testament to the, longevity of the awards.
Lai, you recently just won almost the same award for the AMVCA for content creation, and again you have been nominated for the Future Awards Africa. First of all, tell me, how does that make you feel? You are an amazing content creator, by the way. So tell me how that makes you feel, like when you heard about the nomination.
It's a pleasure and a privilege. This is my second nomination for the Future Awards. I was nominated last year. Unfortunately, I lost. I should even be granting this interview on behalf of Future Awards, but in good sportsmanship. And it's always a pleasure to be nominated again and to be recognized by such an institution for great work. So yeah, it's a pleasure. And being that I won the AMVCA this year and nominated for the Future Awards, and I also recently won the Lord's Achievers Awards. So we're looking forward to a trifecta of awards. From here, we're looking at what next if I possibly clutch this award. So yeah, it's a huge privilege and a huge pleasure to be nominated again for the Future Awards.
We'll clinch it this time, even after losing it last year. So hopefully you will get it this year. So let me talk to King Madi quickly. King, you're very young, and I like the fact that you gave yourself the name King. You're very young, and this year's, the theme for this year is great and daring. Those two words I think describe you very well. So tell me, first of all, how did you feel when you heard about the nomination, and what does that mean to you as an artist?
Well, first of all, I feel like this very moment itself is such a blessing, and when I heard I was nominated, I was over the moon, because it just means that all my hard work and my effort is being truly appreciated, and it's such a blessing to know that like I'm a part of such a wonderful moment in the African history, and such like a specific moment that is because it's like, you know, as an artist, when I make music, I make it like in the comfort of my home. I write music and for the fans, for people everywhere around the world to enjoy, and just knowing that it has grown beyond that to something that is internationally recognized, because I'm sat right here with two amazing African people. So it's just like, you know, I just feel appreciated. I feel the zeal to do more as a person, as an artist, and to speak more as a woman. And I just feel like, you know, like the appreciation is crazy. I'm super blessed, super privileged. So yeah, I'm just happy and everything.
Also happy for you too. So, and congratulations on your nomination. But Mr. Ayadeji, I'm going to have to ask you, it's been consistent for 18 years, which is very remarkable. And I want to know, there are over 20 categories that you award young individuals on. So how do you select who qualifies for these awards? I mean, I don't deny the fact that each and every one of them is fantastic in their own field, but how do you make the selections?
We have a very robust selection process. And I'm sure most of the nominees in the room have probably heard it for the first time. So we have what we call, the first phase is the CWC, Central Working Committee. It's a 50-man team or 50-plus man team, where a group of people who are individuals and, you know, authors or authorities in their field, in this field that the categories are. So we have 24 categories this year. So people from creativity, people from innovation, people from journalism. This is the 50-man group. And then when we call for nominations, all the nominations that come in, they are the first level of screening. Now we get almost 3,000, 4,000 nominations yearly. What we do is we screen from that 4,000 to approximately 1,000. That 50-man group are the ones who do that first level screening. And they are also, you know, there are people, their names are all over the internet, so you can look them up. There are people in their fields who are doing incredible. That 50-man team then pass on that 1,000 plus list to what we call our IAC, the Independent Audit Committee. That group is about a 13-man team. They now shortlist again from that 50-man into about 300 people. From that 300 people is where we now send that to the judges, who then, you know, recalibrate, and then we have our full 5 nominees per category that will release for everybody. That's 125 people, depending on how many awards we're giving each year. But for over the last 3 years, it's been 24 awards, so that's 125 people plus that we nominate annually, and that's how we get to these numbers.
Amazing, amazing. So, like, I don't think there's any Nigerian would say that they haven't seen at least one of the different characters you've had to create for us. I mean, so when we're talking about side hustle and the gig economy, I feel like your characters understand it very well. Is it that you're trying to market a product to us that is not showing on that character, or you're spending your salary at the moment he enters your, but anyway, it's been like, you have like very, very interesting characters. I want to know, how are you able to come up with these ideas that constantly resonates with your audience?
The law was inspired by lawyers that I worked with during my undergrad as a law student. I interned in Osogbo. I worked at the Ministry of Justice while I served in Ibadan. So, you know, these were people that I saw around me, and it was basically the norm of the day. But I felt like, you know, there was a humorous side to people like this, and it was very relatable to every Nigerian, I thought. So to portray those characters was more or less seamless, because I kind of saw them every other day. The Mr. Richard GNCC character, it was inspired by a particular brother that came to meet me one day. You know, it was in Osogbo still. Came to market, I think, secrets of wealth. To me, I felt maybe the secrets were also a secret to him, because it didn't give me the vibe I was looking for. If someone was gonna preach to me about making money, but still, I felt like it was a hilarious story to tell. So these were things that have shaped the characters that I portray online, and the reception obviously is from the fact that people are able to relate to the characters that I portray.
Let me talk to Zainab right here. So you are still one of them. So let's not forget that part. Let's not just be talking to you like a journalist or a broadcaster. You are still one of the TFAA nominees. So I want you to tell me about what is that one project that you've done that has left a lasting impact in you, that made you feel, I have to keep doing this.
So one of the projects that is so dear to my heart is the Al-Majri documentary I did back in 2020. And fortunately for me, it was the first work that earned me my international award by the International Center for Journalists.
So you can't forget that one. You can't forget that one.
I can't. And so that story really did a number on me. And the whole idea behind that story was to tell the Al-Majri story from different perspectives. A lot of people see young boys sent off from northern Nigeria to study the Quran in different parts of Nigeria, but I think there's something missing, which is what the Quran actually says about sending off children, just sending them off without knowing where they sleep, what they eat, what kind of environment they live in. And so I think what distinguishes that story from any other Al-Majri story is the perspective that actually shows the fact that Islam does not support child destitution. And so that story...
so it's different from any other story that anyone has told about the Al-Majri.
Yes. And so that's really what distincts that story. And for me, getting that award has opened countless doors for me. My life has never been the same since I won that award. And so I'll never forget that.
Yeah, amazing. And that now you're on the verge of winning another award, if I do say so myself. Anyway, congratulations, Anamini. So King, are you still with me? Let me talk to King Madi. So your song, your style is very, very different. I mean, the first time I heard your song, I had to go look for the face so that I could like, give a face to the voice that I heard, because it was really, really amazing. So I want to know, to you, how would you describe your style of music, and what do you think makes your song really, really different and unique from every other artist out there?
Personally, I feel like my style is confidently different because I make music from every single thing that I have listened to growing up as a child. I was born and raised in Benin City, Nigeria, and my mom had a store next to a bar, and the bar used to play old school music all the time, so I subconsciously soaked in a lot of old school melodies and tunes, and I learned how to write music at that age. So I feel like all of those experiences I've had growing up in Benin, listening to old school music, listening to a lot of rap, has shaped me as an artist. And so when I write, it comes from a very different and genuine space, and I feel like everyone has that as an artist, but mine is is me. So it's a very genuine space in my heart, and when I write my lyrics, it's like, even if I'm telling something as simple as a love song, it's coming from a very different perspective. And I feel like that's kind of how to describe my sound. I love R&B music. I was inspired by artists like Brandy, Kendrick Lamar, and I feel like R&B and Afro combined together is another way to put my sound. So yeah, Afro R&B, I make Afro R&B. I love every other genre of music. I can make every other genre of music, but I'm most comfortable making Afro R&B. And I feel like the acceptance to such a style of music that hasn't really been dominating the African scene for a minute is so mind-blowing, because I was quite unsure about my style at start. I was quite unsure about the acceptance from people, because I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna like this. I don't know. There's really not this type of music trending when I put out my first song, but it was accepted, and I was very, very shocked and blessed. And so that's what I'm still doing. I'm sticking to my truth as an artist. I'm sticking to my genuine sound, and I'm just putting out more music. Yeah.
Okay, we will get back to the conversation shortly with King Madi, Lai Wasabi, and Ayodeji Razak. And of course, Zainab is still in the studio, but we'll take a quick break now on the show. When we get back, there will be more on The Medley Show. Stay with us.
stupid music, baby.
Hey, come on in. It's mostly celebrity inspired or driven, sort of, because when a celebrity puts on something, if the celebrity is bold and like confident enough and brave to just go against the norm, decide to put on something that isn't trending, you may get laughed at. Like in the case of, let me say, a Kanye West, for instance, you design a shoe and people laugh at it. Give it like a couple of months, one or two other celebrities rocking the same item. Next thing you know, it's all over the place and it has watered all the way down to the street. So trends come and go. And as a human being that is passionate about clothing, fashion, and all of that, you should have that ability to adjust. At the end of the day, you have to adjust, especially if you are in entertainment or fashion. Like, you have to keep up. Otherwise, people just, they are classics, right? They are stuff that, certain companies just come up with, and it's timeless. Things like the Air Force One, the famous Timberland boots, those ones are timeless. They get season. Icons like Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson's contribution, Michael is the biggest thing that ever happened to music, period. But he did it when social media don't even did. So there will never be another Michael. As music go, we give him his flowers and we give him his props. He came up with a unique type clothing that we are all rocking now. Those are timeless. But when you first seeing him with the signature pants, with the white stocking and everything, once you see anybody dressed like that, the first thing that comes to mind is Michael. That guy is dressed like Michael Jackson style. A lot of these things we're rocking now, we're like, yo, this is trendy. Someone will just come up with something. One person could just decide, you know what, I'm going to put on these tux with a pair of shorts. Or you can just bring that now, and next thing you know, it's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So you can never write anything off. The skinny jeans and straight pants, you don't come out. Like, it's already, you still see one or two people rocking those, but very soon, it's already out, even with hair and appearance. If you remember back in the days of Craig David, you see guys going around with beards, carved out tiny, and and now if you carve your beard like that as guy, they go call you Agigi, no level. So it's all a process of popping and flopping. It just is what it is. But then again, that is the whole thing that makes fashion very, very interesting. It's the inconsistency, don't get so comfortable. This could change. Thank you. And once again, my name is Dandy Palmer. I'm signing out.
Say the state of economy spoil relationship plans, yes?
So
Sorry about that, sir. Naira cannot be falling and you be falling in love. Both cannot be simultaneous. The person that said love don't cost a dime, last week he saw the cost of love and said, damn.
But Mr. Richard,
Yes.
It's not every woman that likes money now.
Well, I had a friend that prayed to God that said he don't want to marry a woman that loves money. God answered the prayers. Today is a Reverend Father. Why am I telling you this, sir? Because every wife material is also a material gaze. Just the sewing that is different. Speaking of sewing, don't let anybody that not tailor your shirt tear it. Ask me why.
Why?
Because you cannot allow people to reap what they did not sow. When you have money, people will be coming, say they are your day one. You go broke and see. One day, your day one will call you, say they one day on their own. Why? Because nobody likes to accompany who is not accomplished. 13 hours flight to America now is 7 million. You will now meet your old friend at filling station and say, what is small watch? The word is not small size. Money you don't have. The circle of friends you have determine the circumference of this art to you. I want to take a bike down to...
Mr. Richard, you're going.
Hey, if you like,
Don't you ask
join
me to
the class.
register?
You that you cannot afford 6 classes of food. Don't want to join JCC class. Okay.
I hope at least now you know what's popping and what's flopping in the fashion industry. And that video by Lai Wasabi did make you laugh a little. So I still have Zainab in the studio. I have Lai Wasabi, Ayadeji Razak, and of course King Madi in our Lagos studios. And we are still talking on the Medley show. So I want to talk to Lai first of all. Lai, I want to start with you now, yeah? So all the different characters you've been able to put together over the years, every single one of them has made us laugh. Like, there's humor in every character you've created. So I want to ask, do you use humor as a means of communicating real life, real social issues?
Yes. subconsciously. I think from a very young age, I realized my talent for humor quite early, but I never knew that it was my thing. I just knew that sometimes I say things and people would laugh. But I think when I started to become more aware of the talent of humor was more or less when I was in secondary school. So in secondary school, around GS2, GS3, I'd already started to write jokes. SS1, I already started, writing scripts for drama plays. SS1 was when I actually started, acting comically. Before I was more interested in doing stand-up, writing jokes and delivering jokes on stage. I also think I was influenced by a lot of comedy that I watched growing up. Because while I was younger, my mom owned a video club where she would rent cassettes, Yoruba films, Night of a Thousand Laugh episodes. So I consumed a lot of that growing up. So I guess that was what shaped my understanding of humor. So I kind of understood humor very early on in life. So I think it just kind of interpreted or kind of found its way into my daily life. I found that I was able to make people laugh, much more easily than the average person. And I kind of recognized it from there, and I honed it, going forward. And I realized that it was what was most interesting to me that I wanted to do for the longest time. So even while I was studying law, a lot of things that we would learn in class, I would relate to my friends and it would be funny, or I would mimic lecturers, I would mimic lawyers that I was working with. And I just kind of knew that this is what I wanted to do for the longest time because it was more or less a natural ability and a gift for me.
For the longest time, meaning we're still going to see so much more content that's going to make us laugh from Lai Wasabi. Okay, so Mr. Ayadeji, let me talk to you right now, yeah? It's been 18 years and running. I mean, I've mentioned how amazing it is for me, how you guys have been consistent for the past 18 years. But what impact have you seen in the lives of your past recipients, both professionally and in their personal life?
The Testimony of the Future Awards, and why we do it every year in spite of some of the challenges that we face, is that we have a name for it at the Future. It's called the TAP. Usually, everybody that we've nominated, and we say with a lot of confidence, 95% of people we nominated have gone on to be successful in the field that we nominated them in. A very clear example is even last year. Vicky James, before last year, was just Vicky James, the fashion designer. She was pretty popular to a large extent. I didn't know her personally because I'm a guy and I don't consume fashion content. After the Future Awards, every social media platform I turn on, Vicky James is there. It felt like magic. And this is something that we've noticed over the years. We nominate someone and it just goes off from there. And I'll give you another example. Someone walked up to me recently. I was at Fola David's thing. Fola David, the guy who won the Guinness World Record for largest painting by an individual. And I went to, greet him when he launched his academy. And he said to me, do you know that I was a nominee for Future Awards 7 years ago? And I was like, wow, 7 years ago, way before anybody thought he could go on to be a great artist, so to speak. Future Awards nominated him, because that's what Future Awards is about. We find people in places where people think, yeah, Davido was a nominee as early as 2006. People now are celebrating Davido. He was nominated in 2006, very early, and it shows what we do at Future Awards. It's almost like a box into the future. And we're so proud of it. So the testimony of Future Awards is that, yes, we do nominate people and they go on to be great successes.
Hey, King Maddie, you are we've said it so much on this particular show, how young you are, and you are thriving in a very, very fierce industry with so much competition. But I want to ask, what are some of the major challenges you've had to deal with in this industry, and how did you deal with it and still being on top?
I feel like earlier on, although I haven't been doing music for long enough to say that, but like at the start of my career, the first problem I had with the reception was when people started to realize that I was 16. So my first song is titled See Finish, and it's a song about mental health in general. And it's a song about disassociating yourself from the crowd because you're not feeling 100%. And so people could relate all over the world. People were downloading it. This song is so relatable. This song is so personal to me. But the minute they found out that I was 16, the message was like, girl, Like, what do I have to learn from, like, who saw you finish? So now everybody's like leaving the message and trying to be like, how can it's a lie, how can a 16-year-old write this? So I feel like at the start it was more of the doubt, because they felt like, okay, 16-year-olds should not be able to relate to this message this deep. So everybody just started throwing doubt my way. I had to deal with just people separating my music from what I was really about, because I'm more about my art than myself. I really prefer when people know my music than know me, because it just means that like the words I've written relate to a person. And so I dealt with people doubting my age. I also dealt with, you know, a lot of haters, as it usually comes. And as a female as well as a woman, a lot of people have tried to put me in a certain box, because that is their mentality towards women. They expect women to dress, act, and look a certain way, and when they don't fit into that description, they oftentimes shame you and try to put you in that box. A lot of people have complaints about how I dress. They're like, you're a little too masculine, when are you gonna wear a dress, and all of that. But I love the fact that I subconsciously speak for a lot of teenagers and younger people that are confident in their style, and they're not too feminine as well. They enjoy who they are. So when they look at me, they say, okay, somebody in the industry is representing us. And I feel like my style just makes them more confident and comfortable, because, you know, you could be a woman and still dress the way you want to dress. Like, you don't have to be extremely feminine. So I feel like I'm a voice in a way, and it's so helpful to see those that are saying the negatives, because then it just shows that if I could fight back and if I could stand on what I believe as a human being, my identity, then, you know, the younger ones can also look at me and be like, okay, she could dress this way, so I could dress this way. So I've dealt with criticism, I've dealt with doubt, but, you know, I'm still doing me, and I'm speaking for a lot of people, and I'm just excited to be where I am.
And who you have inspired will still be doing them. Anyway, let me talk to Zainab. Yeah, you're so invested in storytelling. So my question is, what do you think, or what do you think is the power of journalism, especially in Nigeria today?
Journalism is powerful. Just yesterday I was moderating a session around how journalism is a force to reckon with. Journalism changes perception, it changes lives, it turns so many things around,
right.
It influences policies. And so there are so many things that journalism can do. Just to set an example, there was a story I and my team worked on, I think 2 years ago. It was about a girl living with disabilities who really wanted to go to school but didn't have the opportunity to. She really wanted to go to school, and what she does is she stays on the streets to beg for some money, and then she uses that money to walk to school and then pay tuition in a public school.
Wow.
And so one day I was just walking around, and I was really very interested as to why, because you see her wearing a uniform. And so we did her story, and we published on digital. And it was surprising for me to see so many non-governmental organizations reaching out to say, oh, that story was really, we would love to support Aisha, what can we do for her? And then they came, it was a community engagement. And so today they've paid Aisha's tuition, and they're willing to support her even if she wants to go to higher institutions. And so those are the things that journalism, the very little things, but they're bigger things.
They're really
journalism
big
can
things.
do. Yeah. So those are the things that journalism can do.
And just like the little girl, there could be other people whose stories you've told could have also had a positive impact in their lives, and not just them, the family, the community, which is super amazing. Speaking of impacts, let me talk to Lai. I just want to know, you have a significant following both on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on every social media platform that you have an account. You have a significant following. Do you feel the need to use that power to shape perceptions and influence the minds of young people, or perhaps anyone who is watching your content?
Yes, I think that is an underlying obligation that anybody that has that amount of influence on the media space has. Because whether you like it or not, whatever thoughts that you put out there influence the mind of a certain percentage of people following you. So although I'm very wary of it, and as much as possible I try to filter a lot of my personal thoughts, the objective and subjective ones. So as much as possible I try not to be very personal with the opinions that I have or I put out on the internet space. A lot of things that I do on the internet space are more or less objective. At some point in my career, maybe I would start to speak on more controversial things and voice out, more controversial opinions. But for now, I like to keep it very simple, very objective as much as possible. And I think that it is very necessary for everyone in the content creation space to have some sort of message that they are passing on to their audience. As much as possible, I try to do that. It could be Christian, it could be moral, it could be financial, but any way that I feel that, okay, this message would have an impact to people that are watching me, I try as much as possible to add that to the content that I create. And going forward, I hope that I'm able to infuse a lot more impactful and helpful messages to my skits and also things that people watch me do in the future.
Already works for us. The world is already so complex that it is. So if we have you giving us content that's making us laugh every time just to calm down, I think it works just for everyone. But King Medley, let me ask you this. You have accomplished so much already as a very young artist. But which of your works do you think which of your works have you done that you've done over the years do you think you're very, very proud of? It best describes who you are, and you're very, very proud of the outcome.
That's a beautiful question, because a couple days ago I was just talking about how grateful I am for so many phenomenal moments in my career. I've been blessed enough to go on tour. I've been blessed enough as a new artist to have my own concert in Uganda and have a massive turn up that I personally did not expect. I've been blessed enough to make the news. So there are different phenomenal moments in my career, but one thing I am definitely grateful for is my concert in Uganda, because I personally, as a new artist, or as an artist in general, it's such a bold move to make, to say, okay, I'm about to perform in a crowd, and people using their hard-earned money to pay for tickets to come see you. That alone is a blessing, and I feel like I'm just blessed enough to have these people know my music word for word, feel connected to my music enough to show up. And my music, I oftentimes try to make it a storytelling thing, because I feel like as individuals, as females, as women, as men, as human beings, there are certain moments in our lives where we experience things that we would love to have something that connects to it. And I feel like my music talking about that particular experience for a person is a way of connecting to them. So I feel like I'm very proud of the music I've put out so far, the concert that I had, the fans that I have in general, and I'm very proud of the King Madi EP that I put out. It has done such amazing things, from songs like American Love, Ole, and the collaborations I've had as well. But yeah, that's to name a few. There's so much, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's to name a few.
So Zainab, you tackle stories that shed lights on important social issues. So my question is, how do you balance the sensitivity that comes with the stories and the need to bring the stories to light?
I think this is a very, very important topic. As a journalist, you need to be wary of sensitivities to certain issues. But I think what has helped me over the years is really reaching out to these communities, knowing who these people are, getting to know them on a personal level first. And so knowing a lot about the community you're trying to barge into, talk to, is very important. Because I've noticed over the years, even when you're trying to interview someone, when you just pop up and it's like, okay, who the hell are you? When you talk to someone on a personal level to understand, sometimes it's you even sharing personal stories to say, oh, I went through this.
And they suddenly become open to you.
Exactly, because just recently I did a story around maternal deaths. And so it was difficult for me, because I really needed to film a live birth. I was just crazy. I really wanted to see a live birth, and it was tough for me. And so fortunately for me, I visited a community in Niger State, and upon arriving, there was a woman actually giving birth, and I was like, oh my goodness, how do I get this? And then the doctor said you would have to talk to her first. She was like, no, she doesn't want that. And I was like, please, can I talk to her? And then she was like, okay. And then I shared my personal story about giving birth, about children, about what I went through, having a cesarean, and she was like, oh my God, did you go through that? I'm like,
wait, she was answering these questions while in labor?
Yeah, no, she had given birth already, and so we're like, and so she was like, oh, okay, that's totally fine. And so I think relating to people on a personal level
sort of makes it easy to tell the stories.
And so depending on the community you're going through, I think one other thing I've realized is reaching out to these communities through their own people who actually understand the context and the nuances makes it easy for you to get your job done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Mr. Ayadeji, I'm going to talk to you now. So the reason why I'm having all these nominees say things like this is so that the audience will also understand why they made the list for this TFA Awards. But I'm going to ask you, the core values of the Future Awards Africa for celebrating young people as it comes to youth development across Africa, how would you encourage on this platform there, how would you encourage young people to make impact? And not just to be listed on these awards, but actually make impacts that will last over time.
Selection process at the Future Awards. There is what we call a being human factor. Most of the people that we nominate, and I think this is it, and I'm looking at those who have, written in and nominated themselves, but they make it to the final nomination list. One of the things that we're always looking at for people who are actually doing good, and that's a very interesting word, because doing good doesn't mean you have to do good for someone indirectly, but just being good generally. Like you rightly asked of Lai, it's the question around: are you socially conscious? You can make it comedy, but are you addressing topical issues? Are you even communicating in a way that is positive and is good? Same thing with the kind of music that King Madi makes. Again, are you communicating honestly? What are the values behind your storytelling? At the end of the day, the core of what we're trying to do at the Future Awards is spotlight Africans and young people who are doing incredible work in their field, but that is good for Africa at the end of the day. And I think that basic tenet allows for us to then go from there, and that's why we're so confident about people that we nominate, because we are confident that their basic values are those that align what Future Awards is about, which is, at the end of the day, we want to do good. Most people don't know this, but if you do look into the Future Awards and the Future Project, which is the actual home of the Future Awards, Future Awards is a product of the Future Project. Future Project is the CSR arm of our business at Red, and what we try to do at the Future Project is, at the end of the day, is communicate how young people are changing the world and how we are empowering young people to change the world. Some of our projects include things like Why Monitor. At the end of the day, the core of it is people are doing good things, young people are doing good things, and we are there seeing them. The Future Awards is our way of acknowledging all of those good work that we see when we go to villages in Zamfara and remote states in Maiduguri and all of that, and we see all of these young people who are doing incredible. I was at a symposium sometime in Abuja. I saw a young lady doing incredible work in Enugu, and we're like, we take their names down and we look out and watch them as they grow, and that's how we build this great community of young people who we've called our alumni at the Future Awards. And the basic of it is simple: they are doing good for people, good for themselves, good for Africa, good for Nigeria. And that's very important to us.
Amazing, because it's been a long time we've been hearing young people are the future of tomorrow. It's about time. It's about time we see them doing something and actually celebrate what they're doing to be sure that they make it to the future. So it's been a great time having this conversation with you, Mr. Ayadeji, with King Madi, and of course Eli Wasabi and Zainab Bala in the studio. Thank you so much for being part of the Medley Show today.
It's a pleasure.
And do keep a date with us on the Medley Show. We'll be back next week with very, very interesting package for you. But until then, you take care. My name is Suchi. Bye for now.